Here we are, live at 5 Kenya time, 9 a.m. New York time, 6 a.m. California time. Hey, everybody, this is Queen Mother Speaks. This is Queen Mother Speaks. Greetings to you and you and you. Welcome to Wonderful Wednesday. And we have a fantastic show planned for you today. We will be continuing with Black history, of course, and we have a tribute to a very special friend of ours. And we have several people who've chosen to come into the studio today and talk about this phenomenal woman. Okay. Um, Let me just say that our theme for this season is recommitting to good health as the foundation on which to build a life, a community, and economy. Do me in 2023. So, what we're actually talking about is vim and vigor for you to look at taking care of your own well-being. And let me turn off this. There we go. I needed to turn off the alarm. So we're talking about vigor for your well-being. And when we say vigor, we're talking about your overall health, work-life balance. Not just one part, but several. So the question becomes, what are you going to do in this new year for your work-life balance? What are you going to do? That is the question. Please take a look at it for yourself and decide what it is that you want to do in this year to stimulate your own stability in your life. All right, rise up, ye mighty nation of men and women, okay? And do those things that are in your heart and on your mind to do. You know what it is for you to do. You have an idea of your dream, and if you don't, take the time to slow down and figure it out, okay? I would like to say again that I want you to hit that like, share, and comment button for Queen Mother Speaks. Please do that so we can up our viewing, and we can only do that with you. We take a moment now to acknowledge our co-host, also known as Teresa Kim. She has time off. So shout out Honorable Margaret Tolley. Congrats to you, Honorable. She just received a new appointment here in Kenya. We also want to give a shout out to Sharia, who was on the show a few weeks ago from Canada, and she's still here in Kenya now, and she'll be having a breathing workshop coming up that we will be telling you about the dates and the times and give you a number. So if you choose, you can go ahead and register. Okay. I also want to give a shout out to Rose Amwara, Anju, Mr. J. Mwangi, Parita, Rose Lukala, Maurice Obuyu, and Estelle, all from Kenya. I've been getting a chance to go into our social media, and you know what? I've noticed a lot of followers who I have not been acknowledging on a regular basis. So now what I want to do is to acknowledge them on a regular basis. All right. And I want to say hello then to one by the name of Otanchi Vince, Mr. Robert Daniels, Eunice Kuha, Anita Dean, and King Fahad. So, ladies and gentlemen, we do have Rakaya in the studio today as our guest co-host, as we stated earlier that Nana is on leave. So we're going to bring Rakaya in now. Rakaya, are you ready?
Greetings and blessings and salutations.
Rakaya, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Do you hear me,
Okay.
Queen Dashanava?
Yes, we hear you and we see you very well. Yes, we
Okay,
do hear
so
you and we do see you.
so am I talking? Am I going to do the meditation?
Pardon?
Am I
Did you
doing the
receive your
meditation?
script? Did you
Well,
receive your script?
you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I sent it to both your email and your WhatsApp, and we do have to go ahead. Sorry for
Well,
that.
I have the meditation, and I have
All right.
the um, what is Black
Right.
History
Who are
Month.
in the studio today. They're going
Oh,
to,
you go ahead with that
Kaya, we
part. I
can't do
didn't get.
this. It's all together. It's not separate sheets. It's all one sheet. So let's go ahead with letting our guests say hello, and we'll come back to you. So take a look at what you got. I realize you've traveled and you may not have had a chance to take a look. So please go ahead and take a look, because one thing for sure is Queen Mother is very happy to have you here. So please turn off your mic when you're turning papers, because we hear all of that. When you're turning papers, please turn off your mic. Thank you, thank you. So right now we're going to ask the guests in the studio, we're going to bring them in so you can see who they are. They're going to give you a shout out. They're going to give you their name, where they're streaming in from, and just a little bit, not the story, but just a little bit that they want to say, and they're free to do any shout outs. Guest, do you want to say hello to the viewing audience?
Good,
Hello. How's everyone? Well, is this the part
Please
about
do
the
say hello to your
shouting
viewing
out
audience.
to Sahai or just saying hello?
This is the part. This is this is the part. This is the part where you say your name and where you're streaming in from, and a shout out. That's it. This is just the hello.
Okay, all right. I am Beverly Lax. I am in Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm just giving everyone a shout out. I'm here with you all. Thank you.
good, beautiful morning. I'm Sheikh Dr.
Thank you so much.
Stefan. Good, beautiful morning. Good, beautiful
Okay, and
evening
he's tuning in from, yes,
from Los Angeles,
and he's tuning in
California.
from West Coast, Los Angeles, California.
And it's such
Okay,
a pleasure to
Coach.
be here and to be with all of you. I hope that you can hear me. It's just a joy to be
Yes, we
here
do.
to give tribute to someone who gave tribute to life, to her family, especially, and to all of humanity, and to her people, her neighbors. We give thanks and we wish her peace in
Mhm.
the other world where she is. I miss her very much. I miss our chats. I miss our intellectual chats.
Okay, this
May
is just,
God bless her,
yeah, this,
raise her up
excuse
into
me,
greater life.
Dakari. This is the time for you to just say hello,
Very good.
to give your tribute to
Okay,
Sai.
so I am back. My
Very
name
good.
is
Thank
Queen
you.
Rakaya. Thank you all so much for joining us on Queen Mother Speaks. This is the month of January, February, and we're going to be giving quotes, talking about leaders and speakers all month long. Today we focus on this Black History timeline and show our dedication, tribute to our beloved sister, C. Farrell. I invite you to get relaxed and ready for this awesome show. Hit the like, share button, comment button. And if this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much for
Okay,
joining us.
and we pronounce it Sahai.
Sahai, I am so sorry. Sahai Farrell. We have men and women, youth having very unique, innovative projects and transformative works, plus special edition shows like today's tribute. So just stay tuned right there. Go to your page, tell us who you are, where you're from, and guesses that you would like to see on our show. Go to facebook.com/ Queen Mother Speaks and facebook.com/ author Teresa Kemp. Fabulous February. Blessings to all our faithful fans out of Atlanta. Lady Mo, Queen Dashanaba's beloved sister, Abimola, uh, Abimbola, Tina Jones, Ernestine, Carmen, Michelle, Sass, Stephanie, and Melissa. Back to you, Queen Mother. Back to you, Queen Mother. She must she must have gotten cut off. And so this month we're going to give a shout out to all the people born in February. And I'm going to begin shouting out my granddaughter, my eldest granddaughter, Kaisa, Purple Imani Asata Enriquez. She turned 25. Blessed birthday. Shout out to all of those born in February. Our brother Stefan and sister, do you have anyone that you would like to give a shout out to in this month?
Yes, I'd like to give a shout out to my beautiful elderly sister that passed many years ago. May Allah bless her, bless her children that still stay in touch with me because they love their uncle, because their mother loved their uncle. Peace and love to Grace Baldwin.
Peace and love. Sister, do you have anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yes, those who I know have birthdays this month. Maria, Usha, and little baby Nala.
Happy birthday to all of those born in February. If I have omitted anyone, forgive me. Charge it to my head and not to my heart. We're going to move on with the Art of Living Institute. We have an online breathing session. Let's see. In this month, we now go to our meditation reading. I will repeat the topic 3 times. You listen with your heart. And affirmation. Usually we do a breathing. So let's just pause for a second and we're going to inhale through our nose. We're going to hold for 6 counts, and then we're going to slowly exhale through our pursed lips. Did everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to inhale, hold for 6, and then we're going to exhale slowly, ride. It's called the straw breathing technique. So let's do that 3 times, and prayerfully, Queen Dashanava will get back on. Okay, let's begin together. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Hold. Exhale.
Hello. We've been on blackout for a few moments. How are we doing, Rakaya?
Okay, one more time. Inhale. Hold for 6. Exhale. Okay. Now, the affirmation is my faith is strong. And we're going to say that 3 times. My faith is strong. Everyone repeat. My faith is strong. My faith is strong. My faith is strong. Sadness happens to everyone. A loss of anything can be very traumatic. Transitions of loved ones is an everyday occurrence. How do we cope? How do we carry on? With faith. Faith activates our ability to dissolve the illusion of unworthlessness and hopelessness. Faith is our spiritual connection with God, our assurance that what we believe is true. Our heart has to be open to receive the supply of faith's goodness into our lives. The power and presence of faith transcends thoughts of fear, doubt, and unbelief. There is no separation from God. There is no separation from my faith in God. I pray today and lift up my awareness of faith within me. My mind is available to having more faith in my life, in my affairs. God in me is limitless, and so is my faith. Thank you, love, in me, through me, as me, around me, through the Christ within, and so it is. For we walk by faith and not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Hebrew 11:1. Faith is the substance of all things hoped for, the evidence of things yet unseen. Queen Dashanaba, back to you.
Thank you for
Thank
that,
you.
Coach. Thank you for that very much. You know, it's interesting. We have perfect weather. We have like a picture perfect, beautiful day here in Kenya. So I can't explain the blackout other than to say it was a blackout. But we're very happy to be back. I want to thank you for being with us for the Queen Mother Speaks reflection reading. Thank you, Coach. You did a great job. I want to give a few more mentions to Sarah and the girls from Dubai. Hello to Dr. Willie Butler out of Louisiana, Professor Al Gaskins out of Ohio, Brother Chess and Lila from New York City. Hey, 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 we're going to ask you once again to hit that share, comment, and like button. And so now we turn our attention to this month in Black history. And we're talking timeline. Okay, Coach?
Uh, our theme is resistance. Black History Month is an annual observance originated in the United States, where it is also known as African American History Month. It has received official recognition from governments in the United States and Canada, and more recently has been observed in Ireland and the United Kingdom. Significance of remember history, important people and events in the history of the African diaspora. Date Wednesday the 1st, February 23, and ends Wednesday, March 1st, 2023. This is the celebration month. It has been observed for 53 years. Queen?
That's right. That's right. Isn't that wonderful to know that
Yes.
Black history has been observed for 53 years? You know, there's so many things that we've done in the past that is now being taken away. So no one can take Black history from us, just like no one can take from you your own education. It is here to stay. Now, whether or not the schools will choose to have it is another matter. We just have to create our own schools in our homes, in our churches, in our community centers, and we have to continue to teach our history. Because if we don't, who will? Ha! That's the way that cookie crumbles. All right. So this month of February, we're going to give you some Black history timelines. We're only giving a few so that we can get to our tribute. And let me say that there are 5 other people we were expecting in the studio today for the tribute. 2 of those 5 have given us a video, and it's just rolling around and around and around. I pray that before time it will be shown. So Black History Timeline in January 2022, the U.S. Mint revealed that Maya Angelou is the newest person featured on the U.S. quarter, making her the very first Black woman to appear on the quarter coin. I wasn't aware of that. Somehow that slipped me, but that's just a timeline of something you may want to know. In February 1870, the 15th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified, and it gave Black men the right to vote. On February 25, also in 1870, Hiram Revels of Mississippi was elected as the country's first African American senator. During Reconstruction, there were 16 Black people who served in Congress and about 600 who also served in state legislatures. In the year 1915, the birth of a nation. Boy, oh boy, that was a movie to see. It was released in the cinemas across the country. The film was directed by D.W. Griffith. It depicts the assassination of President Lincoln as a positive event, and it proceeds to glorify the actions of the original Ku Klux Klan. Movie also depicted Black people as being stupid and sexually aggressive towards women. It was a very controversial movie and has outraged Black people around the nation. Let's go to the year 1920 in the month of February. Guess what happened? The Harlem Renaissance was flourishing in the 20s and over in the 30s. And this literary, artistic, and intellectual movement fostered a new Black cultural identity characterized by a lot of racial pride and an unashamed expression of Black cultural outputs. In the year 1947, a lady by the name of Hattie McDaniel became the first African American to win an Academy Award as a Best Supporting Actress in Gone with the Wind. How many of you remember that movie? How many of you remember that Gone with the Wind movie? Okay, and she attracted Black celebrities in the USA, including a person like Jesse Owens, who gained a lot of popularity for the cause of racial equality. In the year 1957, February, the Southern Leadership Conference, SCLC as it is known, a civil rights group, was established by Martin Luther King, Charles Steele, and Fred Shuttlesworth. I want to say to you that Dr. Fred Shuttlesworth is where I was from, so I knew him very well. And one day, allow me to share with you the history of the King family of Birmingham, Alabama, and the story of Reverend Dr. Shuttlesworth, one of our civil rights icons. You're going to love it. We're not going to do it today, but you're going to love it. Okay. Dr. King, of course, was one of the most influential leaders in the civil rights movement. In the year 1960, in the month of February, 4 Black students in Greensboro, North Carolina, began a sit in at a lunch counter. It was a store called Woolworths. And what they were doing, oh, it was a store called Woolworths. And over the course of 3 months, over 1,000 protesters joined the sit ins. The white protesters tried to intimidate the Blacks who were sitting in, but it didn't work. But 6 months later, the Greensboro Four were actually served some food at the counter. And that's another story to talk about what happened overall in civil rights. It's just a continuing story. We're only giving you a few highlights. In the month of February, in the year of 1960, Malcolm X. How many of you remember Malcolm X, a Black nationalist and a founder of an organization called Malcolm, as we all know, was a major leader in the civil rights movement. And even though he emerged as a semi opposing force from that of Dr. King, he did proactively support. He did proactively was involved in protest, and he was a vocal proponent. Okay, so we're going to end with that for our Black History highlights timeline. But there is so much. I mean, when I read through it was all about. Okay, so I want to thank you for tuning in. And now we're going to go to our tribute. But as we're preparing to go to our tribute, I will say to you that some of the people we are expecting are not in the studio. Hopefully, they may write something in the chat. Okay. But we'll keep tuning in to see if they will come in and join us. So, what we'd like to do next is to just talk about the fact that we're doing the tribute and who the tribute people are. Rakaya?
Ladies and gentlemen, what does it mean to be a friend? Let us hear from those who were dear friends of Say Hi
Sahai?
and their words of love and gratitude for her friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Stefan Battle Bay, herbalist healer. Dr. Joy Semkia Williams, educator. I think that's Semkaya. I'm sorry. And Pingo Griffin, author speaker.
Impingo.
Queen and Pingo, Queen Mother host of Queen Mother Speaks show. Ifiok Otudor, Pan Africanist vegan consultant. Ernestine Hennings, educator, development specialist. The dear oh, um,
Okay, thank you for that.
back to you, Queen.
Okay, thank you for that. So we're going to bring everybody on screen so that we can see. Because, yeah, during the course of the day, I got calls from people who were having issues one way or the other. And then I had people who said, listen, I want to come into the studio and say hello. So there may be others coming in who we did not necessarily give you their name, like Dr. Lax. She wanted to just drop in and have something to say about, okay, she's coming back in now. Let's see if we can add her back to the stream. Okay, there we are. So the person who we wanted to speak first for us and contribute will be Dr. Stefan. I actually met Dr. Stefan through Sahai, okay, through Sahai. And I met him through her long time ago, not 10 or 20 years, but a good enough time that we've been in communication with each other. And since she has made with him, and I expect that you're going to see a lot more of Dr. Stefan on the Queen Mother Speak show. But right now, we're going to turn we're going to just go to him in his own way to present what he has for us of his tribute for Sahai, SCB, Anaya, Farrell. Dr. Stefan.
Good, beautiful day, evening, wherever you are. May the creative force of Allah the Great, most precious, be upon us all. I was in meditation earlier this morning that love is like an ocean, and within that ocean, we have mercy and compassion. As the new year marches on, I pray that we all will make it a moment practice at all times to practice compassion and mercy, the ability to be able to turn the other cheek and to be able to move when we're called. When I met our dear beloved sister, I was at my office working and someone was at an event and told her that I had just gotten back from Ethiopia. She had never met me, didn't know me. She asked, would they call me? And she wanted to speak to me. She says, please come to this event right now. I want to meet you. And I
Really?
went, yes. And I went to the event. She hugged and embraced me like she had known me forever.
Mm.
And we talked about her experience in Ethiopia, my experience in Ethiopia. And from that point on, we developed a great love. We traveled to a couple of events together. We shared her book together. And I wish that everyone would get a copy of her book. It is a magnificent book that unfolds methods and themes on how to live and be productive. You know, from her, I am on the show today because she is the one who I encouraged. This is your birthday. Queen Mother wants you there. She says, but I want you on the show. I said, I don't know if I can be on the show, but you be there. She says, I've never done anything like this. I said, you never was born before that you can remember. She got on the show and she called me the next day and said, I stayed on until about 11, 12 o'clock at night. And Queen Mother just was there all day and all night. And it was such a magnificent show. And we're going to continue to have shows, programs that will uplift and enlighten fallen humanity. I will come back a little later and say a little bit more, but I want to give each and every person in the studio their fair time. Peace and love to you all.
Okay, thank you so very much for that. Um, I will say to you that there is something about Dr. Stefan. He is known as the healer with magical hands. The healer with magical hands. And maybe you want to share your story just a little bit, how you got the title of the man with the magical hands, because I know the story, but some of the other people here today don't. Would you like to share that with us, Dr. Hari?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm,
Mm,
Quite a story.
mm.
I will go into the middle. I had a young lady that came to me. She was a journalist and she had a condition. I gave her some homeopathic medicine, some herbal medicine, an exercise program, and I gave her some laying on hands. When I began to touch certain points in her body, which was actually acupuncture points, nerve stimulation points, a lot of her pain and discomfort immediately left her body. The next day, I picked up the newspaper, and there was an article in the newspaper about me saying the mystical doctor with magical hands.
Oh, okay.
It was quite shocking,
Wow.
but it's quite memorable.
Hmm. Okay. And since then, you've gone on to work with many others who also have come back to testify about the magic in those hands. How did you get to that point? Can we hear a little bit about how that showed up in your life? What happened to you to get you into medicine or into people looking at working towards healing themselves versus a lot of medications?
At the age of about 9 or 10, I stayed with my grandmother in the Tidewater area of Virginia. And the sky was very beautiful, and I looked at all of the planets, and I felt that there was a correlation between the planets, the energy of the sky, and every organ within my body. I'm just a child, but I just imagined that.
Hmm.
In the process of my imagination, my grandmother started me with my own garden. Fast forward, I finished high school. I left Philadelphia and I moved to Detroit. Working on a job there, I had a concussion. And in the process of the concussion, I went to the hospital. They gave me some medication. I took them for one day. I went to sleep, I think the first or second night. And I was told to take my two medications, go into the bathroom and pour them into the bathroom and flush them. And I did.
Ooh.
I got a thought to go and visit an old lady whom I had met that knew another elderly lady that I had met on the bus that told me that they wanted me to meet a couple of doctors. So I went and talked to this lady, and she says, I have a doctor that I want you to see. And I went to see a doctor in Detroit called Dr. F.G. Bracey. He was from Mobile, Alabama. He was one of the first Afro Americans to graduate from a chiropractic college. I went in, and Dr. Bracey disgusted me because I knocked on the door. He came to the door, and I says, "Good afternoon, sir." And he looked at me and he grunted, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I said, what kind of doctor is this? I mean, this is weird. He was as dark as coal. I got to know him as a gentle giant. I went into his office, I sit down, and he began to ask me a little bit about my condition when it happened, and I told him. And then he began to hold his hands away from my body, and he went back again. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then he began to just put his hands on me and just pat me. I say, wow.
Interesting.
So at last, he gave me a little bit of a conversation. He said, Say, hop up there on that table, son. And I got on his chiropractic table, and he lifted up a little bit, and he turned my head to the left. He turned it to the right, and pain went out of my head like angels had taken it away. I turned my head and I said, what kind of doctor did you say you are again? Because I'm 20-some years old. He said, I'm a chiropractic, son. Well, that was a little bit too much for me to pronounce. So I says, okay. So he found out that I was from Philadelphia. He figured that I come from a very nice family, that I was alone. He told me come back in a couple of days. I didn't owe him anything for the treatment. And come back in a couple of days and get another treatment. I got another treatment. He got to know me. He took me through his office. He showed me his x-ray equipment, his colonic irrigation equipment. And he told me, he says, son, I see that you love books. And I'm very happy. But I want you to understand that your patient is not in a book. To heal and to help a patient, you have to say a prayer, roll up your sleeves, and put your hands on them. Ever since that day, I've been saying a prayer, rolling up my sleeves, and touching people, asking people to let me hold your hand. And when I pick up the energy from your hand, I know what part of the body that has a blockage or a condition. And I will go into that part of the body and begin to manipulate and then tell what foods, what exercises that would best bring that body back to life to create new healthy red blood cells, which is something that no drug creates. And the body only lives with strong, healthy red blood cells. Thank you for that.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for that. I just wanted them to know a little bit more about you. I know you were on the show. We introduced you into the Queen Mother Speak show last year, but I just wanted them to get to know a little bit about who you are. I would like, we're still waiting on others to come into the studio, but in the meantime, I want to give a short tribute for Sahai, and then we're going to go to Beverly. And then after that, I will give another one. All right, as we're waiting for our other guest to come into the studio. So the story I want to tell you about is the day that I met Sahai. Living in Los Angeles, California, I was attending UCLA. I had entered the African Studies program there, and at that time, they had the #1 African Studies program in the country. So I was very happy to be accepted at USIU. I'm sorry, very happy to be accepted at UCLA. Okay, at that particular juncture in my history. The year was 1974. And it was also the year that Ali and Foreman was having the big boxing match in Kinshasa, Zaire. And I was hearing all about all of this stuff on the news. And then they brought Ali to a hotel down the street from where I lived. And I decided that I want to go meet him. At the time, I was dating a young man who was very much into boxing, and we would go to boxing shows at least once a week on weekends in Los Angeles at the what did they call it? They call it the LA Coliseum or the LA Arena. We were always watching boxing. So with Ali, literally down the street, and I'm going to say like a 15-minute drive from my house, I decided that I wanted to go and meet him. So I went to the hotel. I won't get into all of that part of the story. That story is for another day. But I wound up winning the contest that day for the Miss Foreman, Miss Ali, which was my very first trip to Africa. So I want y'all to know that when Queen Mother went to Africa the first time, she was traveling with the champ. But not only just the champ, it was a plane full of American artists from James Brown, the Pointer Sisters, Bill Withers, Hugh Masekela, Miriam Makeba, Kaifa Semenya. Oh, I could, what's his name? The BB King, that was one of my mother's favorite. Anyway, we'll come back and tell you about that story another day. But after we got to do this, one of the people we got to meet was a man by the name of Don King, who was at the time the promoter for the fight in Africa. Okay. And as I had been selected as, well, there were four of us. And there were only four is because the men were greedy. There was to be one winner, one Miss Ali, and one Miss Foreman. But because the men were so greedy, we wound up with four girls. So it's like it was me, and the other winner was Veronica, who was a woman that Ali eventually married, and then it was Hope and Trina Booker. So Don King wanted us to meet this young lady who had traveled to Africa before, and she was going to give us some protocols on what to do once we traveled to Africa for the Ali Foreman fight. That young lady giving us protocols was Sahai. She, in fact, had traveled to Africa. She had won a contest as well. She was Miss Watts. And her prize was to travel to 5 African countries. So she had been to places that we perhaps may have been going to, but she was very instrumental in talking to us about our clothing, how to dress, underwear. Believe it or not, it can be important. You don't want to come over here with no polyester underwear. You want
No.
that until you know that. But these are the kinds of things that she shared with us. She also
You
told us
don't
to
want
do
to
our
go to Africa with no polyester anything.
well, people do.
You don't.
So she shared with us all of this great information about what we would do when we were to be in Africa. So that was my beginning of meeting her. And from the day that we met up until the day that she made her spiritual journey from planet Earth to the hemisphere, the atmosphere, or the realm that she's in now, we remain friends. So again, I met her in 1974 up until the day. In fact, I will even go as far to say, because she and I were such good friends, I was able to be on the phone with her as she was in the hospital bed. Our wonderful daughter, Kanjit, called us to let her know that the doctors told her that Sahai was taking her last breaths. So she immediately called me because I was going to Kenya to be with her. And she told me, don't do it because I won't be here when you show up.
Mm.
And she also said, because we're in the pandemic season, and you coming from a African country, even when you get here, they're not gonna let you see me right away. You're gonna have to go in. What's that word they use?
Isolation.
I would
Isolation.
have to go into isolation.
Isolation.
In California, it was for 14 days, and she was saying to me, "I'm not gonna be around, so don't waste your money. Let's just be on the phone together. I'm going to end that story. And now we're going to go over to Beverly and let her talk to you about how she met this lady, SCB, Sahai, Anaya, Farrell. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, I met Sahai through Dashanaba. I
Mm,
was passing through Los Angeles on my way to the Bay Area from Kenya. And, she gave me her number, and Dashanaba had told me, quite a few things about Sahai that sounded so impressive. But oh my gosh, I think like Dr. Stefan saying that once Sahai knew that he had been in Ethiopia, she just sort of took him over. Well, once I talked to Sahai and said, well, I'm Dashinaba's friend, that was it. That was it. So this was my first time meeting her in 2015. We went for breakfast one morning, and by the time we were parting, it was night. I was spellbound by Sahai's spiritual energy. It
Hmm.
was like she had this magical energy that
Yes.
attracted her magical experiences in life. Um, and I was just spellbound by her stories, by her storytelling. She was just so interesting is an understatement, but what she just eluded this light that all human beings should be. And, so devoid of all the negativity and just the brightest smile, the most wonderful stories. She talked about a lot about her time in Ethiopia, and I had been in Kenya for quite some time, and I was just spellbound by her life in Ethiopia, the people she met, and I guess I should say the people she attracted. And yeah, I just I did not meet her again. We did talk on the phone a couple of times. In fact, when Dashanaba told me that, she would be no more in about a week. I couldn't believe it. I had talked to her, I think a couple of months before that, and we just had a delightful conversation. I can't even remember how it started or how it ended. It was just Sahai being Sahai and just um, you know, uh, having me spellbound with her magical energy. Uh, I miss
Ah,
her. I, I know I'll meet no one else like her. I mean, of course, we're all individuals, but I just felt like she was such a special person,
mhm,
and I am just happy and blessed to have met her and to have spent the time with her that I did. So thank you.
mm. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you. And I will say that one of the things about Sahai was this. When you know how girlfriends talk about whatever's going on, men, money, you name it, but when you had some things going on in your life and you wanted to share that with your girlfriend and you were talking to her, she would say, well, now, let's just do a treatment on that. Let's just take the time out and do a treatment. And she would immediately begin to speak to you and quiet down your spirit. And she would begin her prayers.
Wow.
And in the way of praying, she had like a conversational prayer, if you will, with God. I mean, she was talking to him just like she was talking to me or talking to you. And it relaxed you in such a way. All right. And from what I understand, she was like that with many people. But then God also gave her the gift of writing. And our sister wrote. And one of the books that she wrote is this one,
Hmm.
Woven into the Fabric.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Woven into the Fabric. Now, it is sold. You can find this book on Amazon right now. Just look for the name woven into the fabric or by the author Sahai Farrell. Tsehai Farrell, Farrell. And a lot of people have read the book and they all have different things to say. But here's one of the things that I will say to you about this book. A lot of the professors around the country teaching at various universities was given the book to read it and give their comments. And what most of them said is that the book was so thorough in the explaining of all the things that went on. So for me, this is a love story. I'm not going to tell you the book, but you may not see it as a love story. I did. I did. All right. And there were so many different scenes, and she weaves into the book real historical figures and real historical information that was going on at the time. She takes us to the temple of King Solomon again with her travels and throughout Ethiopia. She takes us to God, so many other places. I mean, the book is wonderful. So if you want a good read, you want to go and buy Woven into the Fabric. And
Yes.
again, you can pick this up on Amazon. Okay. And if you want to gift somebody, Women's History Month is the month of March. It's coming up soon. And in the month of May is also Mother's Day. And in the month of June is also Father's Day. And guess what? There's 12 months in the year, and you don't need a special reason to buy it. But I'm going to say to you, she is one of our great authors. So, in addition to being a woman, a spiritual woman, she was also a writer. And when she writes, she draws you into the story so perfectly. You feel like you were actually there. Feel like you're actually there. And we chose this particular time to honor her because her birthday is also in the month of February. Her birth date is February 11th, and we're here on the 15th just honoring her presence. So I'm going to end my story right there about Sahai. I'm going to bring everybody in studio back in. We're about maybe 12, 15 minutes before closing time today. But I will say that she is a phenomenal individual. As you know, we have had other tributes on the show, and there's three other people that we want to do tributes for as we continue on. Now, to those of you who are tuning in, you might have someone that you want to honor in a special way. Do you know that the Queen Mother Speak show is also for you?
Mm.
So feel free to let us know what you want to do. You might have children who are doing spectacular things. We want to feature them. You might have sons and daughters at the university doing work. We want to feature them. This is our show, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a global show. Okay. It is a global show, and we take in people from all around the globe. One of the things we also want to do is to take a look at the women in Ukraine, but that's on the Bonga Dada Bonga show. But some of those episodes will spill over to Queen Mother Speaks. But we want to see what women are doing around the world. But we just wanted to let you know that it's okay for us to honor ourselves because if we don't do it, who will? We don't need to sit and wait for anybody to do anything. If we want to have an award ceremony, put it on yourself. We can. And we do have
Thank
people
you.
to both men and women. So we're just showing you what we want to see you do with the people in your life that you love, because just as sure as we were born into the world, one day each of us will return to the earth as our sister has done. Rakaya, do you want to tell us about some things coming up?
Yes, I do. And I want to thank each and every one of you for such an awesome tribute. And may Sister Pharrell rest in peace. And may her ancestors enfold her in within their everlasting arms forever. And I know that she's probably smiling right now. Uh I did not know Sister Pharrell, but I most definitively will get a copy of that book and engage myself in her world. Thank you
Yes,
so much. The
yes.
DA Reparations Task Force would like to extend a huge thank you to all our RSVPs for registering for our event 2023 Reparations and the Black Vote. Here is a link to the recording of the event, https semicolon backslash youtube.be backslash mzxxn a capital A dy capital U capital BU, and that will probably be posted by Queen Dashanaba. Please share the above link far and wide. Democrats abroad. We will be hosting an event, Medicare, What Do You Need to Know? Together with the Global Senior Caucus and Global Disabilities Caucus, Sunday, February 19th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. ET Kenya time. Tony Cammons, Philip Blumenthal, and Heather Stone will be speaking. Queen, would you like to add a little extra on that?
Yes. I am also on the, as a foreigner living abroad, I am also on the Medicare, what we call Medicare portability community. You see, with Medicare, it is something that we all get a right to when you work in the United States. Okay. It becomes part of your benefits, if you will, from the government. You pay into the system all of your working life so that at the end of it, right, you can now what we call retire. Unfortunately, for those Americans who decided to move abroad, you cannot receive Medicare living abroad, even though they want you to still pay every month for Medicare. So, on the Portability Committee, we are an advocacy organization, and what we're about is advocating for Americans living abroad to be able to use Medicare. Now, personally, as far as Medicare is concerned, because I can't use it, they won't allow me to use it living abroad, then I'm not going to pay for it. I have to pick up my own insurance right here in Nairobi, Kenya. So, but one day when I return to America, if I choose to do that, all right, I will have to reckon with Social Security because they'll penalize you for the time, for the years you didn't pay. Guess what? We'll just cross that bridge when we come to it. But it's important for you to know that even if you choose to live abroad, you will not be able to use Medicare. So keep that in mind and consider that you will have to get yourself a medical program if you choose to do that. Okay.
Okay, Queen, make sure that you post the link for the Democrats abroad that all backslash Medicare hyphen explain. Okay. Soul Vegetarian Restaurant cooking classes are available, and they make some of the most delicious meals. Lucille's Kitchen, sweet potato pie and other mouth-watering treats. Call 0732-567-327. Let me go back to Soul Vegetarian. I omitted the number 0742-654-810. All of those can be found on Queen Mother Speaks chat room. Bonga da da bonga. Bonga da da bonga. Tomorrow, Thursday at 7 p.m. Kenya time, 11 a.m. New York time. Click on facebook.com/bonga da da bonga for an exciting conversation, which means speak, sisters speak. Miss Aisha Dafala, Kenya's blood ambassador, reminds you to please visit Depository Bank near you and donate blood. We need blood in Kenya. We need blood in Morocco. We need blood in Syria. We need blood in America. We need blood globally. Please, if you can, try to donate minimum a pint. I believe you can only give 3 or 4 times a year. I'm not sure about that. I used to donate blood at the Grady Hospital. Blissipline practices to strengthen our ability to weather challenges. Here is the free link that should be posted. Diabetes Fear Support Group, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York time, virtual Zoom. My phone number is 346-244-7887. And let me add something to this. There are 116 million people that suffer from hypertension. Out of the 116 million people suffer from blood pressure, high blood pressure, 1 out of 5 has CKD, which is chronic kidney disease. In 2025, there will not be enough dialysis machines or dialysis centers to be available for those who would need the urine or blood to be filtered and cleaned. And so it would behoove you that you join this class so that you will not be one of the ones that will be turned away because there is not enough machines. Madibas, I am telling you now, the way that we are choosing to eat, it's not to our benefit. And I suggest strongly that we run to this peer support group and to any other group that is trying to share with you how to eat, how to live, and how to sustain yourself for the years to come. We're threaded in some very dangerous times.
Okay.
A lot of us are dying at our own hands, at our own inability to understand what is food and what does it do to our bodies and how we can prevent all of these chronic diseases, all of them.
Thank you.
Anyway, I would excuse me, I get a little carried away. Anyway, the class is available on Tuesdays, free. I'm not charging anyone to support you, to inform you, and to guide you
As you can see,
towards.
ladies and gentlemen, coach, coach, yes, she is very, very passionate about her work. And she knows, and she's done the research. And she's also doing the work in her community, leading people to move away from diabetes and high blood pressure. It's all something that can be controlled by you. Now, I don't know how far your particular case may be, like what can happen and what cannot happen. We're saying to you, find out for yourself what you can do to give yourself a better quality of life. And by
Beautiful.
coming into these peer support groups, you get to hear. And coach, if you would be so willing, I hope that at some point we can invite Dr. Stefan into that peer support group, if that's okay with you,
Oh,
for
he's
him to speak
welcome.
too, because he has
What
another
we can do
topic
is
that he deals with that.
because we're not getting anyone to come to the class. What I did yesterday was just give a brief vignette of the information about CKD. So what I'm doing is giving 5-10 minutes
Okay.
of a conversation and posting it. I'm not going to worry. You cannot, Granny said, you can take someone to the well, but you cannot force them to drink the water. And so I
Well,
cannot force anyone to take care of themselves, to love themselves. But I want you to know that I'm very well aware of the self-hatred that exists within African Americans that endured this brutal slavery. And so I am patient, and I know that soon this mental enslavement will be lifted off our eyes and we will come into our own beingness. But in the meantime, for those who God has blessed to know, let us continue to shed the light. That's all I can do.
very good. Thank you for
Anyway,
that. And
the Art
I
of
think there's
Living
one more you can
Institute.
tell us about.
Yes, the Art of Living Institute, which is very important, that teaches you how to breathe and how to reduce stress and how to focus and how to take control of your thoughts and uh, and understanding that your mind control your thoughts. And so if you're taking care of your mind, then your thoughts should flow positively. Tuesday, the 21st of February through Thursday, February
Yes.
23rd, Tisha Shreya Shah. The timing is 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the venue de Zaneria, Portico, Lower Kabati. The number is 0729 130 556. Please, if you are in Kenya,
Okay. And thank
I
yes.
okay, and then Queen. Okay, back to you, Queen.
Thank you very much. Dr. Lax, who is with us today in studio, been doing a lot of work, and I know she was up overnight, so she's getting a little sleepy there, and that's okay. We're just acknowledging that instead of acting like we don't know it. That happens. It happens in church, it happens in school, it happens when you're riding on the bus, and sometimes you can miss your stop. Sometimes you can mix your stop. But we're very real on Queen Mother Speak. It is what it is. It is what it is. So no problem. I just wanted to call that out so you guys will know that we understand what we're doing, you know. We and say, hey, life is what it is. So now Queen Mother Speaks comes on for you every Wednesday, every week, live at 5 p.m. Kenya time, 9 a.m. New York time. I believe it's 6 a.m. California time, and it
Yes.
is 3 a.m. Hawaii time. Okay. And I want you to know that we do have people who get up to watch the show. Next week, we will be moving into Women's History Month. We have not confirmed all of our shows as of yet for the month of March, but we're working on them. We want to bring you some fantastic information around Women's History Month. And the theme for Women's History Month is about women telling their stories. So certainly we're lining those up for you. We want to have some panel discussions, and we want to have some women to come on with some great stories, and even some men to come during Women's History Month, because sometimes they have something very important to say to us. We want to take the moment out and thank all of those who've tuned in to Queen Mother Speaks. Remember to comment, like, share. Remember to also into the show. We want to thank those who have to make the show possible. We thank the Wilborn Sister Designs for our Wakanda crown. You haven't seen me in that crown for a little bit, but you'll be seeing me in that crown pretty soon. Our jewelry, which we don't have on any today, comes from the village of Achiavi in the Volta region of Ghana. Our fashions are by Kenyan designers and American designers. From Hillside Chapel in USA. All right. Our virtual by Street Code and by StreamYard. I am your host. Your co-host is Nana Afua Adezawa, who is on leave. As we stated earlier, she has a new grandbaby. Congratulations to her and love to the baby. And we know that the baby will grow up and live a great life and contribute to society. We have Miss Elizabeth Myers with the Talila Report, and we have Professor Al Gaskins and Willie Butler with the Sankofa Elders. But guess what? They're coming back. They're coming back, and people have been asking me about the Sankofa Elders. We also have the Youth in Africa Forum, where we bring in youth from all over Africa to show you that America is not the only place where young people are getting down and getting stuff done. And we're very proud of the youth here, and we bring them on and let them tell you their stories. Okay, we want to thank the expert facilitators from the Art of Living Institute who come on the show from time to time and do breathing workshops with us. We want to thank all of those guests who we were expecting in studio today who didn't make it. That's okay. We'll just listen. We know how to do specials. So for those who didn't get a chance to, for you to see their story about this great legend, this great Black history leader, Sahai, we'll do a special show for you so you can see what others from other countries also have to say about her. I want to thank for being in the studio today, Coach Rakaya as our guest co-host, and Pingo Griffin, Ernestine Henning, Dr. Stefan Balabay, Effiak Otadur, Dr. George Samkia Williams, and you too, for tuning in to Queen Mother Speak. Remember to like, share, and comment. And with that, we're going to give you our closing kiss. You know, we like to end the show with a kiss because we believe that love is the most powerful force in the universe. And we never know what people are going through and what a hug may do and what a kiss may do. So right now, we're going to gather up. The way we do it is we take the left hand and blow a kiss, the right hand and blow a kiss. Then we do both hands together and we do this together. Can we do this together in the Queen Mother Speak studio today? Are we ready? Okay.
Yes.
Left hand, everyone. Mwah. Right hand, everyone. And now both hands. Ah. Again, thank you for tuning in to Queen Mother Speaks. And Abimbola, that one was for you from Queen Mother. That one was for you from Queen Mother. We're going to bid you a good day. Again, thank you for tuning in. You can catch the Bonga Bonga Show